Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like your own body was working against you? You're eating healthier than you used to. You're trying to work out. You're saying no to foods you love. You're trying to stay disciplined. And somehow your stomach looks exactly the same. And maybe it even looks worse. Your energy is lower. Your cravings are worse. You're exhausted by 3 o'clock. You can't stay asleep. And every year, losing weight feels harder and harder. So naturally, you start wondering, is my metabolism broken? Am I just getting older? Do I need more discipline? I don't think so. I think your body's doing exactly what you trained it to do. And that's actually good news. Because if we can understand why your body feels like it's fighting you, we can teach it to work with you again. Here's what most people never hear. Your body isn't trying to make you fail. It's not trying to keep you overweight. And it isn't trying to make you tired. Your body is trying to keep you alive. That's its only job. Every craving, every energy crash, every late night binge, every stubborn pound of belly fat is your body responding to the environment you've repeatedly given it. Which means the question isn't, why is my body fighting me? The better question is, what have I accidentally trained my body to expect? Because that changes everything. And later in this video, I'm going to show you why the thing that most people blame on a lack of willpower actually starts before they even eat dinner. Once you see it, you'll never look at cravings the same way again. And by the way, if this video starts to make you realize that your daily routine might be working against you, I put together a free guide called the 10% Tactic. Don't leave yet. You don't need it yet. Just remember the name. Because by the end of the video, it's going to make a whole lot more sense. Now, let me paint you a picture. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You wake up. You're already behind. Maybe you grab a coffee. Maybe 2. Breakfast? Nah, I'll eat later. Lunch comes. You squeeze something in between meetings. Maybe it's healthy. Maybe it's not. But either way, it's quick. The afternoon hits. Your energy falls off a cliff. So you reach for more caffeine, more snacks, anything to get through the day. Then you finally get home. Dinner becomes your biggest meal. Maybe even a little dessert. Maybe chips while watching TV. And before bed, you tell yourself, tomorrow I'll do better. Sound familiar? Here's the crazy part about that. Most people hear that and think it's because they lack discipline. It isn't. It's all about structure. And actually, this is something I get a lot of pushback on. Let me know in the comments what your biggest meal is right now. I'll make sure to respond to every single one. Your answer will tell me immediately where your body has learned to expect fuel. And this is where almost every diet gets it wrong. Diets are all about, how do I get you to eat less? I ask a completely different question. Why does your body feel like it needs so much food in the first place? Those are 2 completely different problems. One treats the symptom, the other fixes the cause. And once you understand what I'm about to show you, you'll realize your body has never been fighting you. It's been protecting you. The problem is you accidentally taught it to survive instead of thrive. Understanding the difference is where everything begins to change. Here's a mistake almost everyone makes. They think their body is reacting to what they did today. It isn't. Your body is reacting to what you've repeatedly taught it over the past few weeks, sometimes even months or even years. Think about it. If every single day you skip breakfast, survive on coffee, rush through lunch, then ate your biggest meal at 8:30 p.m., what would your body actually learn? It would learn food is coming later. So what does it do? It waits. It conserves energy. It slows you down. So when nighttime comes, it turns hunger all the way up. Not because your body hates you, but because your body remembers you. Your metabolism is like having a personal assistant. It organizes its day around the schedule you've given it. If every meeting is at 8 p.m., it's going to prepare for 8 p.m. It isn't broken. It's well organized, actually. This is why I almost never tell people, just eat less. Because eating less doesn't fix the pattern. It actually oftentimes makes the pattern much worse. And this is where so many diets accidentally trap people. They make you believe that discipline is the answer. So you skip breakfast and you ignore your hunger, pushing through the afternoon, feeling proud because you barely ate. Then 9 p.m. hits and suddenly you're standing in front of the pantry, wondering what happened. Nothing happened. Your body is simply collecting the fuel that you refuse to give it all day. That's not weakness. That is biology. And before someone else comes in my comments and say, that sounds like bro science, listen to this. In 2024, researchers published a pretty interesting review in the JAMA Network Open. This review looked at 29 randomized clinical trials on meal timing. What they found was insanely fascinating. People who ate a larger percent of their calories earlier in the day generally experienced much better weight loss outcomes than people who pushed most of their calories off to later in the day. Think about that. Same human body, same calories, different timing, which led to a different result. Why? Because your body isn't just counting calories. It's a clock and it's responding to time. Think about your phone for a second. If you forgot to charge it all day and plugged it in at midnight, would that help you at 2 p.m. earlier in the day? Of course not. Your phone needed the juice before it died. Your body works the exact same way. Most people are trying to recharge themselves after the day is already over. And here's what's even crazier. The thing I'm about to tell you next is probably the biggest reason why people struggle after the age of 35. It has nothing to do with your metabolism slowing down. It has nothing to do with your hormones. It has nothing to do with genetics. It has something to do with something almost every single person does every single morning. And once you understand this, you will never look at breakfast the same again. Now, before the comments become those intermittent fasting bros saying breakfast isn't important, hear me out. I don't think breakfast is magical. I think timing is. Breakfast just happens to be the first opportunity that you can tell your body you're safe. Food is available. You don't have to spend the next 10 hours chasing it. That is a completely different message than black coffee, stress, meetings, and fighting through the day hoping that the hunger disappears. And researchers have also found something very interesting about protein. When protein is spread more evenly across the day, muscle building signals are actually much stronger compared to when most of the protein is saved for dinner. Think of muscle like building a brick wall. You're not going to deliver the bricks 5 minutes before the construction crew goes home. You deliver them while the work is actually happening. Your muscle works the same way. One lump sum of protein is not enough. Your body needs repeated signals. By the way, if you're realizing, man, my entire day is completely backwards, that's exactly why I created my 10% tactic. It walks you through the first changes that I would make if I were trying to get my body to work with me again. I'll remind you where to get it at the end. But first, you need to understand why muscle changes everything. Because this next section completely changed how I coach fat loss. Now let me ask you a question. Why do you think your body stores fat? Most people would answer, because I eat too much. And sometimes that's true, but that's not the whole story. Your body primarily stores fat because it's trying to solve a problem. And until you understand that problem, you'll keep fighting the solution. Think about it. Your body has been keeping human beings alive for thousands of years. It isn't trying to sabotage you. It's designed to protect you. Every adaptation that it makes has one goal: survival. Imagine if your boss told you, hey, I'm only going to pay you randomly. Sometimes I'll pay you on Monday, sometimes Friday, sometimes not at all, which would obviously piss you off and would piss me off too. But the point is, if you were okay with this in some strange world, what would you do? You'd probably start saving every dollar you got because obviously you wouldn't know when the next paycheck was coming. Your body does something very similar. When food arrives inconsistently, when breakfast disappears, when lunch is rushed, when dinner becomes a king's feast, your body learns uncertainty. And uncertainty changes behavior. It changes hunger, cravings. It changes energy because your body is trying to prepare for what it expects tomorrow. This is exactly why I don't think belly fat is just a calorie problem. Belly fat is often a rhythm problem, a recovery problem, a muscle problem, a sleep problem, a stress problem, and yes, a timing problem. That's why two people can eat the exact amount of calories and have completely different experiences. One person's body feels safe, the other person's body feels stressed. Same calories, different environments. And this is one of the reasons that researchers in the health and fitness space have become so obsessed with meal timing. It isn't because calories suddenly stop mattering. They, of course, still matter. But research is showing that when you eat influences things like appetite regulation, blood sugar control, insulin sensitivity, and even sleep quality. That's exactly why I always tell people, calories tell us how much, biology tells us when. You need both. But here's another piece almost nobody talks about: muscle. Most people just think muscle is about looking better in a t-shirt. Of course, it isn't. Muscle is like your metabolic saving account. The more muscle you build, the more flexibility your body actually has. Think of your muscle like adding more parking spaces. Every time you eat carbohydrates, your body has to decide where to put that energy. More muscle means more room to store and use that energy. Less muscle obviously means less flexibility. That's one of the main reasons resistance training consistently improves insulin sensitivity and body composition. You're not just burning calories during the workout. You're building a body that handles calories better afterward. And this is where I think the fitness industry has accidentally misled millions of people. We've taught people, hey, if you want to lose fat, just burn more calories. So people spend hours walking on treadmills. They sweat. They're exhausted. They feel productive, but exhaustion isn't the goal. Adaptation is. Your body doesn't change because you just suffered. It changes because you gave it a reason to become stronger. The body doesn't reward punishment. It rewards adaptation. That is one of the biggest mindset shifts that I've ever had as a coach. I stopped asking, how can I make people burn more calories? And started asking, how can I build a body that naturally uses more energy every single day? Those are completely different coaching philosophies. And now, everything we talked about, meal timing, breakfast, protein, muscle, sleep, and stress all come together. Because I realized something years ago while I was coaching clients. The people getting the best results weren't necessarily the most disciplined. They were simply following a better system. And once I saw that pattern, I stopped just giving people nutrition tips and plans. I built a system, a structure that gives the body exactly what it needs, when it needs it. That's the system that I call the 3-2-1 principle. And once you understand why it works, you'll stop trying to force fat loss and start letting your biology do the heavy lifting. So let's put it all together. Because if you made it this far, you've probably realized something. Your body was never your enemy. It was your messenger. Every craving, every energy crash, every late night binge, every pound of stubborn belly fat wasn't your body fighting against you. It was your body responding to the structure you gave it. And when I finally understood that, I stopped asking, what's the best diet? I started asking, what's the natural rhythm of our body? Because diets come and go. Keto, paleo, carnivore, intermittent fasting, low fat, low carb. Every few years, somebody just comes and gives them a new name. But your biology hasn't changed. Your body still wants fuel when it needs movement, when it needs recovery. That hasn't changed and it will never change. We just have. That's why I built the 3-2-1 principle. Not because those numbers are magical, but because they're a simple structure that matches how your body already works. The first pillar of the 3-2-1 principle is about food. 30% of your daily caloric intake at breakfast, another 30% at lunch, 20% at dinner, and the remaining 20% between two snacks. Why? Because your body needs fuel before it needs restraint. Most people are starving their body when it wants and needs energy, then flooding it with food when it's trying to slow down and recover. That's backwards. This first 3-2-1 principle is simply just flipping that. The second pillar of the 3-2-1 principle isn't about food. It's about recovery. Stop eating 3 hours before bed. Stop drinking fluids 2 hours before bed. Stop looking at screens 1 hour before bed. That's it. Why, you may ask? Because your body can't fully repair if you're still telling it the day isn't over. Deep REM sleep only comes when your body isn't having to digest food, process fluids, and there isn't blue light keeping your brain active and awake. And finally, the final pillar is about training. 3 heavy lifting days, 2 high volume days, 1 active recovery day, and 1 true rest day. And this isn't about earning your food. This is about giving your body a reason to adapt. Remember, the body does not reward punishment. It rewards adaptation. Now think about everything we talked about today. Your cravings, your sleep, stress, your energy, your muscle, and your body fat. None of them exist by themselves. They are all connected. And yet, we've been taught to fix them one at a time. Drink more coffee, take another supplement, buy another fat burner, or cut more carbs, do more cardio, try another diet. What if the problem wasn't that you needed another diet? What if all you needed was simply a better structure? I've watched this happen hundreds of times. Someone comes to me convinced their metabolism is just broken. They're frustrated, they're exhausted. They've tried keto, they've tried fasting, they've even tried counting calories, and they blame themselves for years. When they worked with me, we didn't start by cutting more food. We didn't add another workout. I simply changed the system they were operating in. And something amazing happens. Cravings went away. Energy soared. Sleep drastically improved. Their workouts were far better. And their waistline started shrinking so much they needed to buy new clothes. Not because I found some magic trick. Rather, I trained their body to start working with them again. That's why I primarily believe fat loss isn't a discipline problem. It's a structure problem. Because your biology will always beat your willpower. Every single time. The goal isn't to become someone with more motivation. The goal is to become someone with a better system. And if this video made you realize I've been living in the wrong structure, then I want to help you take the first step. I want you to go into the description and grab the 10% tactic. It's the exact starting point that I use with people who feel like their body has been working against them. Download it using the link in the description. It's completely free. And I think it's going to change the way you look at food forever. And before you go, I want you to answer one question. What do you think your body has been trying to tell you? Was it your energy, your cravings, your sleep, your belly fat, or something else? Put it in the comments because I read every single one. Your comments help me decide what videos to make next. And if you're really serious about finally getting your body to work with you and not against you, watch this video next because it's the perfect next step after what you learned today.